Cowboys will have the first crack at the ball. Eddie Murray will kick it off to Alexander Wright. He can burn it. This now is what it is all about. They kick away from Wright. It's Kelvin Martin who fumbled it first, then finally got it back and gets back to about the 24. Steve Berline will open at quarterback. As John said before, every time he has started, they have won. In front of him, Tuane, Gogan, Stepnoski, Gizik, Newton, and Jay Novacek at tight end. And that's sort of an unsung group, that offensive line. Emmitt Smith and Darrell Johnston in the backfield. Alvin Harper and Michael Irvin will open as the wide receiver. Berline, not impressive statistically, but with the wins and losses, most impressive. It is loud here. Berline's going to throw it. And going deep. Alvin Harper, the intended receiver, and Berline just led him a little too much. The Detroit defense, Spindler, Lawrence Pete in place of Brown in the middle. Dan Owens, the other defensive end. Jamison, Spielman, Jones, and Tracy Hayworth, the linebacking core. And in the secondary, Crockett and Jenkins, the corners, Blades and White, the two safety men. And they will put some helmets on you. Johnston, this is Emmitt Smith. They stuff him after a gain of 2. Owen.
They were going to stop. Where's the first thing the Cowboys come out and they're going to loosen them up.
Tommy Agee replaces Emmitt Smith in their passing lineup. They go with 4 wideouts. If you include Novacek. Berline back to throw it. Intended for Alexander Wright. Incomplete. Jenkins, the defender, and the Cowboys will have to punt. Mike Saxon and the dangerous man that they fear and keep talking about, Mel Gray, back deep for Detroit, and they're going to kick it away from him. If it's only for 35 yards and goes out of bounds, that's okay with Dallas. They just don't want to let him beat them. I don't think that's quite what he wanted, but it turned out to be effective, out of bounds at about the 31. Detroit will take over after a 44-yard punt. Erik Kramer will open it, quarterback for Detroit. Up front of him, Lomas Brown, Eric Andolsek, Glover, Delafiore, and Scott Conover. Barry Sanders will be the lone setback most of the time. Farr, Matthews, Moore, and Green. Their version of the run and shoot. Silver Streak, they call it. Sanders alone behind Kramer. Outside quickly to Herman Moore, and Moore will get a Detroit first down, a gain of 11. Let's have a look now at the Detroit defense. Tolbert, Casillas, Russell Maryland, and Jim Jeffcoat, the front 4. Norton and Del Rio will be, for the most part, the 2 linebackers. They'll go with 5 defensive backs: Holt, Brown, Williams, Horton, and James Washington. 1st and 10, Detroit at their own 43. Kramer with time. To Farr breaks a tackle, another Detroit 1st down. Washington finally herded him out of bounds.
That's what we were talking about, Pat, that they're going to put the pressure on Erik Kramer, especially early. They're going to take Barry Sanders away. Now, you can do that. They have 5 defensive backs in there, but when you do that, you can see how tight they are inside. You are going to give them some passing because they have 4 wide receivers. Now, they got excellent pass protection, and Erik Kramer, I'll tell you, for a guy who's in his first year in the NFL, is cool as you can be in a playoff game.
1st down, Detroit at the Dallas 44. And Kramer again will test him. He does. Successfully, a gain of 12. Willie Green.
And you know what this is doing? This is not only moving the ball down the field and giving confidence to this Detroit team, but it's going to loosen up that Dallas defense, because Jimmy Johnson told us last night Barry Sanders is not going to beat us. If they're going to beat us, Erik Kramer is going to do it. Now, Erik Kramer is starting out by completing these passes. He is loosening things up. I wonder if that one was inbound.
They're going to take a look at it and see, John.
When you look, it doesn't look, when you saw that on that replay, it didn't look like he had both feet inbound.
Well, you look.
Green catches the ball. Again, you have to see both the feet. The key is the feet.
Now you can see.
There he has the right foot.
Nope.
Unless he dragged that left foot is out of bounds.
If he dragged it and got it down, it was,
well,
was sort of lonely, wasn't it?
I think they're saying that there's a good catch that he did drag it. They didn't have enough evidence to overturn it. The right foot was down, and I guess they figured on the field that he dragged that left foot.
Clark is wide right this time. Mike Farr is the motion man. Flag on the play already. Pass is incomplete. Intended for Sanders. He had it and dropped it. Gordon McCarter is the referee.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions, of course, are starting without 2 of their starting.
Number 86 offense, penalty decline, 2nd down.
2 of their starting wide receivers today. Brett Perryman pulled a muscle in practice on Friday. And then Robert Clark had pulled a muscle before, so neither one of them are starting today.
Perryman didn't have on his pads in the pregame warm-up. They were going to test him and see when they went back to the locker room, and he did come out, which shocked both of us, I think.
I know. Well, he didn't practice in the pregame warm-up. He just came out there and he ran on the sidelines. They didn't start him, and now he's going in there to try it. I think there's a heck of a lot of that pride factor, you know. You got all those guys. Michael Irvin played for Miami. Brett Perryman played for Jimmy Jones at Miami.
Perryman, pride, playoffs, a lot of those things will get you to play, won't they?
Well, and then, you know, being at home in this crowd, and we were there on Friday at practice when he pulled that muscle, and it's amazing what adrenaline can do.
Really. 2nd and 10. Detroit at the Dallas 31. No flag. Kramer. Touchdown. Willie Green from Kramer. From 31 yards out, Ray Horton got spun around. So did Green, but Green made the catch. This place is loud and loud and louder.
It's amazing what emotion and adrenaline can do. Watch Kramer. He's going to try and come to the right. He rolls to the right. He's looking right. He looks right again. There's nothing back. He comes back to Willie Green on the left side. That was his third receiver.
Eddie Murray for the extra point. 7-0 Lions lead. In a hurry, they got it done. They said they were going to go after him, and they did. 7-0. 11:29 left in the first quarter. 5 plays it took them. The NFC Divisional Playoff game. The Lions and the Cowboys. And Detroit scored first time they had the ball. They lead 7-0. Eddie Murray line drive kickoff. Handled by Alexander Wright. After a juggle, he gets back to the 20, and that's all. Again, Noga down to make the stop. The Lions scoring drive. Willie Green, the touchdown catch from Kramer. 5 plays, 68 yards, 2 minutes, 9 seconds, no running plays.
Well, I think that was sending a message to the Dallas Cowboy defense and say, okay, you can come out there and you can take away Barry Sanders, but if you do that, you're going to give us some other things that we're going to take. The other thing I think is interesting, that was the first drive when the Cowboys got the ball the first time. That was the first time that Berline didn't score on the opening drive.
Novacek was the move man. This is Emmitt Smith. They say we can't let him beat us, but he got 8 yards.
Well, you know, it's tough to stop these Cowboys because in Emmitt Smith, you have the leading rusher in the NFL, and then you have Michael Irvin, who's a leading pass receiver. So someplace you're going to have to give him something. And this guy is just a dashing runner. You know, Emmitt Smith can take it into a hole and boom, run right in there behind Nate Newton, or he can take it in there and cut it back to any other hole along the line of scrimmage.
They need 2 for a first down. And that's exactly what you were talking about. That play was supposed to go left, and he brought it back to the right.
Yeah, we were talking to Nate Newton last week, and he was saying the toughest thing is there's big Nate Newton 61 there. As he said, they call a play, and you think it's supposed to come to your hole, and he goes way over on the other side. And then sometimes they think it's going to the other side, and you want to take a little rest, and it comes right back to your hole. So he says when Emmitt Smith is in there, he said as a big old 335-pound offensive tackle, you have to play every down.
Because you don't know where he's going.
Yeah, sometimes the tackle, you know, when the guy goes away, you can take a play off.
And he might be back. Berline backpedals. Outside to Emmitt Smith. The Detroit pursuit by Spielman. Knocks him down after a gain of maybe 2.
Emmitt Smith was going to give Spielman a little bump, and Spielman was giving him a bump. I'll tell you, Spielman is the type of guy, we talked to him on Friday. He was ready to play the game then. He was probably ready to play it a week ago Friday. You talk about intensity. I don't know the definition of the word, but I think if you need a definition, it's this guy right here.
He gave us a couple of Teddy Roosevelt quotes that lasted about 15 minutes.
I know, yeah, I was trying to learn that quote. He said Theodore Roosevelt said it.
Left side Smith, a gain of 3. Pritchett made the stop.
You can sure tell the difference in playoff football. I mean, you know, you just know, you can just feel it in this building and in these players that this is a different level from what they were playing a couple weeks ago.
About 80,000 on hand. Most of them came from close by. Third down, about 4. AG behind Berline. Berline didn't make the first down. They'll have to punt it.
Berline didn't score on his first drive as quarterback, and he didn't score on the second drive as quarterback. Tell you, this is one fired up Detroit Lion football team.
And one fired up stadium to go with it.
And the two are helping each other. The two are feeding off each other.
Saxon back to punt. Mel Gray. Was he ever dangerous?
You said they aren't going to kick it to Mel Gray, even if they have to kick it out of bounds. This is one place that Jimmy Johnson really respected or feared this team.
That's going to go right to Mel Gray. To the 31. 42-yard punt, 13-yard return. Stopped by Tony Hill. Detroit leads 7-0. They have the ball first and 10 at their own 31. They haven't run a running play yet, but now they should have. Pass complete from Kramer to Clark. First down, Detroit at about the 48, a gain of 16.
Yeah, this is part of the Detroit game plan, Pat. You know what they're trying to do is, if you look, here's 3 wide receivers on this side. This is the backside, so they want the defense to overreact to this side. Then they're going to throw individual patterns one-on-one back on that side. You see, you get 3 guys, you overload the left side, then you look back on the right side, see? And there's no way that they can get any help out there. They're one-on-one. Isaac Holt is playing real deep.
Especially after you fake to Barry Sanders. Here's Kramer again. Pass complete again. Different pattern, same scheme.
It's the same idea, you know, to get an overload to one side and then throw back. In fact, I think the Cowboys might be taking Isaac Holt out of the game. You see how far Colt is off? Holt is way too far off. He's given way too much cushion. He has a bad leg. He was injured a week ago. Jimmy Johnson didn't know if he could go. They hit him on 2 passes, and they just took Ike Holt out.
And Gant took his place. First down, Detroit. Kramer again will throw it. And out he comes to this side to Willie Green. Out of bounds, pass complete, knocked out of bounds by Larry Brown. But a gain of 5.
The amazing thing is, you know, Detroit Lions, you think Barry Sanders are going to run the ball, run. Barry Sanders has yet to run the ball. I think that everyone knows that when you play Detroit, you want to take away Barry Sanders. Well, you can't do the obvious. I think Detroit has come up with a great game plan here. If that's what they're going to do, then let's go and take what they're giving us, and then eventually they'll loosen up and we can run Barry Sanders.
Kramer's 7 out of 8. And no running plays as yet. And still not. Incomplete this one. 7 out of 9 make it. Intended for Perryman.
Well, that was good coverage out there. The Cowboys put Ike Holt back in. He's back in at left corner. Kramer was still trying to work on him. He looked out to that side, to the right side, and they had coverage there, and then he had to come back to his 3rd receiver in the middle. There's Dave Levy. He's the offensive coordinator of this Detroit team, and I think in that right hand there, he has a pretty good plan, or at least
so far
a good first quarter of a good plan.
3rd down. And finally to Sanders, who spins away from 1 tackler, from 2, and out of bounds. They'll have to either try a field goal or punt it. A loss of 1. A lot of dancing, but not much doing.
Well, the other thing they could do is go for it on 4th down. Yeah, you're on the 35-yard line. It's a 52-yard field goal. You really hate to punt it away there, but your decision is to punt and then let your defense play, and that's what Detroit is going to do, or go for it on 4th down, or try the 52-yard field goal.
Or perhaps a fake.
Or, yeah, fake from the punt, or you could go to field goal and fake from the field goal.
Sure. Ray Horton is back deep for Dallas. That's unusual. Arnold to punt it. Aim in for the corner. Pretty good job. At about the 4.5, where Dallas will take over. 30-yard punt, but very effective. The numbers don't look that good, but the results aren't bad.
And we just saw the guy that's taking his place in there, Lawrence Pete. Not the player that Jerry Ball is, but he's about the same size as Jerry Ball.
And stronger, according to Jerry Ball. This is Emmitt Smith. Not much. They started from the 4.5. He might have gotten 3 yards.
Lawrence Pete is strong, but watch Stepnoski take him here. The problem that Pete has, if we look at it on the clicker here, the problem that he has is coming off the block. You see, he gets on. See how strong he is? He just keeps that strength, that leverage. But at some point, you have to get off it to make the tackle. I'll tell you, that's a pretty good play there. If a nose tackle can just keep everything in front of him and pile it up like that, that's good nose tackle play.
As you say, that's a pretty good play. Berline back to throw it. Got a man. Michael Irvin out of bounds at about the 25. First down, Dallas. Ray Crockett took him out. First and 10, Dallas. Berline with time has Michael Irvin again. First down for the Cowboys one more time. Mel Jenkins.
You know, at the last time the Cowboys were on the sideline, Michael Irvin was over there going crazy. And I know what he was saying. Hey, throw the ball to me. I can get open. In fact, you know, whatever it takes. They're playing a 2-deep zone there. He just gets by the corner, gets in front of the safety. He believes that on every play, if you throw him the ball, he'll catch it. It doesn't make any difference if it's one guy covering him, 2 guys, or 3 guys.
And that's what makes a great receiver. I believe I can get open. I know I'm going to get open.
I've always wanted guys that wanted the ball.
This is Emmitt Smith. To midfield. Run out of bounds by Benny Blades. A gain of 6 for Emmitt.
And I think the last 2 plays we just saw the Cowboy offense where you say, how did the Cowboys get here? I think those 2 guys, Michael Irvin catching that pass and then coming right back with Emmitt Smith. In fact, you say, how much are these guys, what do these guys mean to this offense? Well, if you look, Emmitt Smith is 38.9% of the offense. Michael Irvin is 38.8. The rest of the guys are 22.3.
Second and 4, about the 49 for Dallas, and Smith again. Emmitt Smith. A gain of 18.
That is what a great running back does. A great running back will never stop his feet. Watch him. He'll take it in there, and watch how his feet just keep going. You see, he could have went down. No one wrapped him up. There was poor tackling in there. Everyone thought, you know, I got him. You take him. He got him. But I'll tell you, he even gets a play. If you're going to make a long run, you have to have one of your wide receivers has to block. Watch Michael Irvin right there. He gets just enough of a block to spring Emmitt Smith.
It's a great thing when your feet take your body with you. Here's Berline. Stopped by Jenkins. 20-yard gain.
Hey, you talk about the drive, and everyone's talking about the Broncos and their drive, and you know, we remember when they did it against Cleveland. John Elway, again, congratulations to the Broncos, did it again yesterday, and this isn't the same part of the game, but this is a pretty good drive by the Cowboys and Steve Berline here.
Remember, they started at their own 4. A minute 16 left in the first quarter.
That's what you call a long field.
Smith again. To the 10. Somehow it looks like nothing, but it winds up to be 3 yards.
Yeah, I always wonder what the other back does. You take Emmitt Smith there. He was the leading ground gainer in the National Football League. Barry Sanders on the other side, he was second. You wonder if Barry Sanders watches Emmitt Smith or if Emmitt Smith watches Barry Sanders. When you talk to them, they tell you that they don't.
But you know they do. 7 plays, 84 yards. They've kept the ball 4 minutes, 5 seconds. 46 seconds left in the first quarter. Norv Turner, rest of the Dallas defensive assistants. Dan Owens out. Excuse me, John. Second down and 7. They're at the 10. The Lions lead at 7-0. Berline to throw. Saw what he wanted. Saw Novacek, overthrew it. He is upset.
Yeah, we were just wondering if Barry Sanders even watches. Barry Sanders is sitting back on the bench. He's just waiting for his turn. But you know what they do? That's what they do right there. They'll always sneak a peek up at the screen. That's a new thing in the NFL, you know, because you get instant replay in the stadiums, and players don't have to watch the play. They'll sit on the bench, and then they'll always look up at that screen in the stadium.
That sneak a peek.
Yeah, because they say, no, I don't watch him. No, I'm my own guy. I run like Barry Sanders. I run like Emmitt Smith. But they do watch each other. I know they do.
That's Kelvin Martin, the man in motion. Berline batted away, incomplete, intended for Irvin. Knocked down by Ray Crockett at the last moment.
I tell you, Ray Crockett plays well against this team. The last time they played, he intercepted a Troy Aikman pass and ran it like 96 yards back. That time, he's right there on Michael Irvin to knock the ball out of there. And you know, when Steve Berline's a quarterback and he needs a play, his go-to guy, the guy he's going to look at, is Michael Irvin.
28-yard field goal attempt coming up by Willis. Novacek holding. (7-3) now. With 10 seconds left to play in the first quarter, the Lions continue to lead, but their lead is cut down. Barry Sanders back deep on kickoff return coverage for Detroit.
Yeah, and I think it's the first time this year. This may be the first time he's been back as a kickoff returner.
This is Dozier at the 5. DJ Dozier knocked down at about the 17 by Kenneth Gant. First quarter statistics, first downs even. But look at the rushing yards.
Well, of course, the Lions haven't even tried yet. The Lions, I think they came out throwing, trying to loosen up that Cowboy defense to get some running later. I think the big thing in there for both teams is no turnovers. The other interesting thing in the first quarter is there has been no penalties.
Doesn't that seem as if it always happens in a playoff game?
It always seems to. The farther you go, when you have the playoff, the championship, and the Super Bowl, as far as you go, you always seem to have fewer penalties.
Kramer. Sanders. Larry Brown made the stop after a gain of 5.
Watch, here's Russell Maryland, number 67. He was a #1 draft pick in last year's draft. And you see Andelsek, you see how strong he is. He had a little help from his center, Glover, but Erik Andelsek is one of the strongest guards in the National Football League. If you look at his arms and chest and they're from the waist up, he is as thick as any guard in the league, I think.
If you go with that thickness, he's also wide. Here's Sanders. Close to a first down, stopped by Washington. A gain of 6, and it should be enough.
Barry Sanders on the right side. Here's the thing, you watch Barry Sanders, and here's a guy that has more moves than anyone that's playing the game right now. And of course, the secret on defense is don't let him make all those moves. And he was tackled by one guy there, but that's not going to happen a lot. I mean, the Cowboys know that, and you got to get a whole bunch of your guys around and on Barry Sanders when he carries the ball.
First down, Detroit. At their own 31, they lead 7-3. Trips to the left. They should come this way. Sanders. Cam Norton tripped him up, a gain of 7.
That's exactly what they did, Pat. They put the trips to the left, and then he is going to work the right side. See, here's the trips over here. They got that out there. Now back on this side, they just got the one thing. So what Kramer wants to do is come back here, bring his back in here. So now he got 1, 2 receivers there and work that back side. You see the Cowboys are rotating. They have more defenders over on the left, so he throws it back here on the right. He's either going to have Sanders or that outside receiver on that side.
9 out of 11 for Kramer. Same setup, same play. And Norton again made the stop. It's like a replay almost.
You know, it's interesting here that they have thrown 4 balls in a row to Sanders. You watch it here again. He's looking. He looked off to the left, and then he came back to Barry Sanders. In fact, when we were talking to Erik Kramer the other day, he says, you know, he said early in the game, he said we may throw the ball a lot more to Barry Sanders than we run it to him, and that's exactly what they've done.
The Lions moved far too early.
76 offense before the snap, 5 yards, still first down.
Yeah, that 76 is Scott Conover, and he's doing a pretty good job. He's a rookie, and being a rookie tackle in this league is tough. But being a rookie tackle in this league, when you're always on a weak side, when there's no tight end on your side to give you any help, is double tough. And I've watched him on films and stuff, and this guy is a good player.
In this offense, you almost always have an open side, no matter which side. First and 15. Kramer back to throw it from behind by Jimmy Jones. And down he goes.
And you always say it. You say Scott Conover's a good player, and he runs right by him. Watch him right here. We'll watch him on the clicker. Here's Conover. Now you watch him going against Jimmy Jones. Jones right there is just going up the field. See when he gets his left hand there. The left hand pushes, then he can bring the right arm by. Then when he gets the right arm in that position, there's no way that he can get back. Erik Kramer holding on to that ball was amazing.
A remarkable 2nd and 19. That was, it probably will go as a sack, but that was a remarkable effort by Kramer to keep that ball.
I think Jimmy Jones, the way he hit him, I think he helped him hold it.
Pass is caught by Willie Green, but a flag on the play. Way back deep is a penalty marker, and the Cowboys have already started to celebrate.
Yeah, because that's it back in that area where they call offensive holding. Illegal use of hands, and that's what it's going to be against the Lions.
Illegal use of hands, jam to the face, number 67 offense. 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
That's a right guard, Ken Delafleur. You see, you know, they always want to get those hands up and jam. And what you want to do is you want to jam both hands. You can see him. He's number 67 right in the middle of the screen. You want to jam both hands to the shoulder. He's working on number 75, Tony Casillas. But you see what happens. Sometimes as you go to jam up under, that hand keeps going, and you get the face mask. And that's exactly what happened to Delafleur there.
2nd and 29. Cowboys showing blitz. Now they back out of it. Tony Hill, a gain of 2 for Sanders. Not much more.
You see Casillas there. He darn near spun right out of that play. He was in there, and he hit into his guard, and then he started to spin. When I was coaching, I always hated the guys to spin because most of the time they would hit and spin away from the play. He did it, but luckily they got him.
There's Tony Casillas. Very, very happy now. He was not happy in Atlanta, as you probably know, but he is now in Dallas and playing very well. Kramer to throw it. Willie Green made the catch, but they're going to have to punt. A gain of 10. Larry Brown made the stop. And This is where the Cowboys can hurt you. If they get you back here where you have to punt, they are excellent on special teams and particularly at blocking punts.
It was interesting. Jimmy Johnson was saying that, you know, there's always three areas: offense, defense, and special teams. This week, he thinks he's going to win offense, he's going to win defense, and all he wants in special teams, he says, is a push, because Detroit has good special teams.
Good kick. Kelvin Martin signals fair catch. Detroit's down in a hurry. At the 15, the Cowboys will take over. Good punt by Arnold, 49 yards. 7-3 Detroit. Dallas ball their own 15, Emmitt Smith. They all say we can't let him beat us, but you better come to work early.
Tell you one thing Emmitt Smith does is after a guy tackles him, he always kind of gives him a little pat in the head, one of those type of thing, you know, because I think that he's one of the guys that every player that tackles him knows they have to get him, and then they have a lot of respect for him. You know, and in a player's mind that happens. I mean, they go like heck until the whistle blows, and then once it's over, they have to clean out their mind.
Number 34 came into the huddle, communicated, and then went back out of the game.
Penalty marker went down way after the play was over. AG came in the game and then left. He was penalized for communicating.
That's right. That's a rule. They had 12 men in the huddle then.
For illegal substitution.
I'm glad they can't penalize us.
5 yards, still first down.
You see what they do is you can't send a guy in all the way into the huddle and have him say something and then run out. You can send him in and then he has to stay in there. And you can't just run him in and say, hey, go in and tell these guys that and come out. Because that's the old thing, you know, Bud Grant used to do years ago. In fact, we did it too. You'd have like 14, 15 guys in the huddle and then break, and, you know, and 3 of them would run to the sideline. You didn't know who was playing.
First and 15, it was Emmitt Smith. And there's nothing there. No gain. That illegal communication will always get you in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to communicate, just communicate. You know, or if you're going to do it illegally, don't do it. Just don't use any communication. That's why they got hand signals and all that stuff for it.
7:50 left to play in the first half.
Emmitt Smith does all the running anyway. AG's a running back. He's going to go down. What do you do for the Cowboys? Well, I was their communicator. Illegally communicating.
Serious. Here's Berline. Pass is complete. Close to a first down to Michael Irvin. I think he got enough. William White made the stop.
You know, it's interesting. When Troy Aikman was a quarterback, he would always look for Jay Novacek to tight end. And one of the things about Berline, doesn't make any difference. There's double coverage out there on Michael Irvin.
Triple.
Steve Berline is going to be out there, and he always looks for Michael Irvin. He doesn't care where he is. In fact, the first day he reported to the Cowboys, he told Steve Berline, he said, look, there's only one rule here. Michael Irvin, he said, that's throw to me.
Well, he's back again. Let's see where it goes. Pass is picked off. He went in the wrong direction. Going to be a touchdown, Detroit. Melvin Jenkins from 41 yards away. And this place is going crazy.
And the one thing Jimmy Johnson said last night, we have to protect the football. We cannot have turnovers.
Jenkins, 41 yards. The extra point by Murray is good. It's 14-3.
And who says you don't need emotion in the NFL? The Detroit Lions got all the way to this game with emotion. That time he was going to Harper. He didn't force it to Michael Irvin.
14-3 Lions. 6:42 left to play in the first half at the Silverdome in Detroit. The Lions lead Dallas 14-3. Gant with a kickoff return for Dallas and with some room to about the 35, where Dallas has to regroup. A 26-yard return by Gant.
That had no chance of being completed.
Berline gives to Emmett Smith, then he's off again. Emmett Smith slips down at about the Detroit 46. Jenkins finally made the stop to make sure he was down.
Yeah, we were talking to both Emmett Smith and Barry Sanders about why a running back changes hands, and you always want, you know, the ball on the outside as you're going to the sideline. But the other reason is you always free one hand up to be able to straight arm or push off or to play off defenders.
Smith 10 carries, 63 yards already. Another carry. This is 11. About a yard this time. Stopped by Owens.
Jimmy Johnson had a lot more confidence last night than his team is playing with so far in this first half.
2nd and 8. Here comes a Lion blitz. Pick it up pretty good. Pass is caught by Harper. Flag on the play. Late hit on Berline. Pritchett got there late and knocked down the quarterback. Still a gain of 17. They'll add to it.
That was a heck of a throw. I mean, by Steve Berline hanging in there. Pritchett was going to hit him. He did hit him after.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 94 on the defense. Half the distance from the dead ball spot, first down.
So he'll get both. You see, by standing in there, now they just got Pritchett on that one from throwing him down. But watch it to catch at the other end. That was a heck of a throw by Berline, being able to stand in there. But look at this catch by Alvin Harper at the other end. I mean, you talk about a guy going up the ladder. He went up the ladder. So the Cowboys got the play, and then they tacked on the penalty to it. So that was a big, big offensive play for the Cowboys.
First down for Dallas at the Detroit 14. That's Smith. And not much. Spindler made the stop. Jimmy Johnson looks very, very calm and controlled at the moment.
You know, one interesting thing in this game, Pat, and it's tough for quarterbacks, I know it is both of these teams have the same color helmet. And a quarterback, when he sees guys coming at him, he's looking downfield, and all he sees is blurs and jerseys and helmet. And I don't know how often this happens in pro football, but not a lot, where you have both teams in silver helmets. And if you say, who's that tough for? I'll guarantee you that's tough for the quarterback.
Has to be. Irvin is the man in motion. Berline fakes to Smith. Gets it out to Robert Awalt. Stopped by Jamison. Awalt down to about the 11.
That was one of those plays that either Awalt didn't run deep enough or they didn't design it, because it was a bootleg play and they were going to throw it to the tight end. But if you're going to design a play, the guy got to run deeper than that. You don't want a completion for a yard.
There's what you were talking about. Look at both teams. Look how similar the helmets are.
I know it, and that, you know, I mean, you hate to give a quarterback a built-in excuse for throwing interceptions, but that is one. That is very, very tough.
3rd and 6, and Loud. Berline to throw it. Hit Emmett Smith, who never saw it coming. Hit him in the back. The Lions blitz fooled everybody.
Well, you see that Berline is looking to the right. He has a read, and what his read is, if it's covered deep, he has to come off short. Emmett Smith wasn't even look. You see, this is who he's trying to throw to. He's trying to throw out here to Michael Irvin. You see Irvin coming on across. He didn't think he had anything there. Irvin thought he had it there. Irvin says, I told you, Berline. anytime there's a pass, throw it to me. I'll get it.
Willis for the field goal with Novacek holding. And it's 14-6. Steve Berline in conversation with the Norv Turner, who runs the Dallas offense, up in the coaching booth. He's not saying congratulations.
No, you could see that Norv Turner had the phone on and he was looking down at a chart. So what he was doing is, you don't have a lot of time for emotion.
Mel Gray with a kickoff return. First down Detroit. Kramer outside, complete to Perryman. He got about 5. Robert Williams up to make the stop.
Yeah, it's amazing to me that Perryman is even out here. At that practice, Perryman pulled a hamstring muscle on Friday. We saw him leave the building here Friday on crutches, and he couldn't do anything. In fact, he didn't even take part in the pregame warm-up. He was out here.
Didn't even have on pads.
No shoulder pads. He was wearing a baseball cap and just ran up and down the sidelines. And I was sure that he wouldn't be able to play, but like he said, hey, there's a game, this is it. There's no tomorrow and all those things, and he's out there playing. This is amazing.
We're in the finals. We'll get the 2-minute warning now before the end of the first half. The Lions have the ball, leading 14-6, 5:11 left in the first half here at the Silverdome. 2nd and 5. Erik Kramer, the quarterback. Perryman, the move man. Kramer to throw it. Screen pass to Sanders. Flag on the play.
That was an interesting screen pass. They took Barry Sanders, and he went into the left side of the line to hide and then came along the right. The penalty is going to be against the Detroit Lions, but it was interesting because usually they left and they screen left, or they line up right and screen right. He lined it up left and then sneaked to the right for the screen.
Pass interference, number 84.
Herman Moore.
10-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
He pushed off Isaac Holt. Holt.
Watch the way this screen develops. So you see Barry Sanders start to the left. You see he starts in here. Here he is. Now he's trying to hide. Then he sneaks back. You see him sneak back to the right. Then the screen develops out there, and it's a pretty good play. Here's the screen out in front of him. The only thing is Herman Moore pushed on the play, so it had to come back.
Kramer back to throw it again. And gets it out quickly to Mike Farr. Stopped by Holt. A gain of 5. It'll bring up a 3rd down.
One of the best offensive tackles in football is that guy right there, number 75, Lomas Brown. Watch him pick up a stunt. You see the guy comes to the outside, that's Maryland. He just takes him. He just fell into that. He was ready to block the end. Maryland came into him. I don't think he knew where he came from, but he said, look, if he's going to come at me here, I'm going to block him. But Lomas Brown is one of the best pass protectors I feel in football.
3rd and 10. Farr is a motion man. Pass complete to Moore. That should be enough for a first. Knocked out of bounds by Holt.
Yeah, they're still working out here on Ike Holt. Herman Moore was the #1 draft choice for the Detroit Lions, and they tried him as a slot, as an inside guy, and he really didn't do very well there, so he became a backup. Then they moved him outside, and they said he's a lot more comfortable there. But if he takes too many of those right hands that Holt delivered or tried to deliver to the head, I'll guarantee he's not going to be comfortable.
Here's Troy Aikman loosening. He says he's healthy.
And he says he's disappointed, and he says he's frustrated, and I just have a feeling we're going to see him today.
Kramer to Sanders. Down in the arms of Jeffcoat. But a 5-yard pickup.
The Lions are going with no huddle here.
(14-6). The Lions leading the Cowboys with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Kramer again outside. This time to Willie Green. Brown hustled him out of bounds, but that looks like it's there all day if they want it.
Especially when the corners are off like this. You see, Brown is playing 10 yards off, and any time that they have a corner playing off, Brown on that side or Holt on the other side, I think that they can hit those out patterns or patterns in front of them all day. Or they've done that the whole first half anyway. I think the Cowboys are going to have to make an adjustment on that at halftime, but then again, you make too many adjustments, then you give Barry Sanders running room.
Green has 5 catches for 71 yards. First and 10 Detroit. They lead 14-6 already. Here's Kramer back to throw with time. Now he pulled it down. Incomplete. Sanders was the intended receiver, I think.
Yeah, it was Sanders. That was good pass coverage. Sanders wasn't the original receiver, the primary receiver. You watch Kramer, he's looking downfield, looking, and then, in fact, he had to bring it back, hold it. Now he's kind of fallen down and away when he threw it to Sanders. So Sanders was like the 3rd or 4th choice after the 2nd pump.
You don't get many more pumps than 2, do you?
No. But this Detroit line is doing a good job of pass protecting, and Kramer's doing a great job of staying cool.
Cowboys showing blitz. Now they back out of it. Kramer, pass caught by far. First down Lions, timeout Lions. 20-yard gain. Good job by Kramer.
As I was saying, the Lions are really doing a good job of pass protection, and they are. You see, and it's tough because they don't have any tight ends. They don't have any backs to help them. They just got 5 guys that have to do the job, and they are doing it.
Steve Berline looking on. Troy Aikman loosening.
He told us last night he was ready. I think we're going to find out sometime today if he's ready or not.
Kramer gets it outside to Sanders. Sanders gets it out of bounds. Close to a first down. Maybe a foot short. Kramer now is 18 out of 21.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about Kramer, when he came to camp this year, he wasn't even the backup quarterback. Of course, we know Rodney Peete was the starting quarterback. Andre Ware, their #1 draft choice, was a backup. He was the 3rd quarterback just trying to hang on. But look at this. Pass attempts, he's had 22. 1 sack, only hurried 3 times, hasn't been knocked down. That is excellent pass protection.
Second down. 43 seconds left in the first half, and Kramer goes deep. Got a man. Incomplete. Incomplete. Willie Green had it and lost it. Brown was the cover man. That had touchdown written on it.
That looks like a good throw. He just has to turn around. Brown did get his hand in there. Larry Brown got that left hand in there. It just got in Green's hand, and then Brown got his left hand in and punched it out. Watch this. Green goes up, Brown goes up, and just knocks that left hand, knocks that ball out of there.
37 seconds left now. 3rd down and about a half yard. Say one. Sanders hit by Ken Norton, who came on a blitz and didn't get the first down. No gain. He had it timed perfectly.
I'll tell you, he did have it timed perfectly, and that's a run blitz, and that's what they did so well last week against the Chicago Bears. You know, if you look at it, here's Norton. The ball isn't snapped yet, but he is going to come in, boom, and hit this hole right here, and he'll be in there at the snap of the ball. This is hitting the gap at the snap, and he hit the gap at the snap perfectly.
And now what do you do? It's 4th and about a yard. Field goal, you got to, don't you?
I would think so. I would think in this situation that you have to go for the field goal. That play killed Detroit. It was a big defensive play for the Cowboys, and I don't think that they can afford to not go for the field goal here. Because they've already gotten 2 touchdowns, and the Cowboys have gotten 2 field goals. So by getting another field goal, that will just be the same as eliminating one of the Cowboys' field goals.
Barry Sanders, by the way, who the Cowboys said we can't let him beat us. They haven't done that, but they're losing 14-6. Sanders has 8 yards, 4 carries. 36-yard field goal attempt here.
And the guy that we said had to do it and has done it in his first half is Erik Kramer, his receiver.
High snap. But the field goal is good.
This is what a kicker does. You see him let the air out. He even takes a lip like he's blowing a trumpet to let the air out. Whew. That was his first postseason field goal that he's made since that one that everyone remembers that he missed out in San Francisco against the 49ers. Remember that when they were playing the 49ers? Monty Clark was on the sideline and what looked like prayer, and Eddie Murray had a chance to win it. He went wide right.
Berline's helmet is off. The Cowboys have 27 seconds after this kickoff. Berline's helmet is off. Aikman's is on. Kelvin Martin. Whoa. To about the 42. Crockett made the stop. 15-yard return, and Aikman.
They probably decided that they were going to play Aikman in the second half. So if you're going to play him in the second half, I think this is a pretty good move. I don't know if taking Berline out is a move or not, but if you decided you're going to play him in the second half, let him get a little feel now. Maybe he can get some life in this team before halftime, but let him get in the game a little.
Well, he's in the game a little right now. 17-6. Detroit leads Dallas. 21 seconds left in the first half, and Aikman back to throw it. Wheels it outside to Novacek. Novacek tried to get out of bounds and did. And got a first down, a gain of 11.
That was the thing I think that the Cowboy coaches were a little upset with Berline about, is that he didn't hit Novacek enough. And as we said, that's the thing that Aikman does. I mean, Berline, his guy was Michael Irvin. I think these Cowboy coaches up there think that they want to hit Novacek underneath. Then if you can do that, then it'll be easier to get to Michael Irvin deep and easier to run to Emmitt Smith.
Cowboys have all 3 of their timeouts left. 14 seconds remain. Aikman, the quarterback. And back to throw. And down he goes. By Jeff Hunter from the outside. Right around Tooney.
You'll see it. Here he is right here. And here's Tooney blocking him. And just watch Hunter. This is just a speed rush. You just get up. He doesn't do anything. He just runs right around him. Just like you said, Aikman stands there and he hits him right in the back.
Timeout Dallas with 9 seconds to go. They have 2 left.
Jeff Hunter really put a pass rush on Tooney that Tooney should have taken a short set and just not let him get up like that, because again what they're trying to do, I think, is put Aikman into this game, and because they're going to play him in the second half, they made that decision.
Aikman takes a little bit deeper drop than Berline. Maybe that.
And then the other thing is Aikman didn't step up. Aikman takes that drop and he just stands there, and of course he's coming off the knee injury. He's not going to have as much movement, so he's going to be more of a sitting target for that pass rush. But I think they want to get him in this half, and then they're going to bring him out and start him in the second half.
Second and 19, 3 wide receivers to the right for Dallas. 3-man rush by Detroit. Aikman's just going to throw it up and hope. They got one of these last week. It's intercepted. Spielman comes down with the football. That's the end of the first half. With the score, Detroit 17, Dallas 6. The home of the Lions as they lead Dallas 17-6. The winner will face the Redskins next week here on CBS. Mel Gray down at about the 25. Stopped by Gant, who has excelled on special teams for the Cowboys this year.
Yeah, if we look at that first half, and again, you know, who would have thought that, you know, Detroit defense would come out and play as well as they did. But the other thing, if you look at Detroit here, that they only ran 4 times that first half and passed 23. I think that is the biggest surprise of the game. I mean, I knew that they were going to come out and they were going to pass. They'd have to lose them out. But to only run 4 times when you have Barry Sanders has to be a shock to everyone.
Well, of course, they knew that Dallas was going to say, we're not going to let Barry Sanders beat us. And they came out stacked in that direction. Here's Kramer. Pass complete to Perryman. A gain of 4, perhaps. Robert Williams up to make the stop. Same pattern.
You know, an interesting thing, though, but the Cowboys used a different defense. You know, what they tried to do was go triple. If you look, they got triple over here. Now, what they were doing is they were coming back to this side with the individual thing, but this time they get a rotation back here to this side. Just watch this backside, the bottom of the screen. You see, they get the rotation here, the double there. So away from the triple, they're starting to double.
Let's see what they do this time. Same formation. Now they put the man in motion, but Perryman goes back, so the trip's right. And Kramer's going to change it. Flag on the play. They took too much time. Incomplete. Intended for Willie Green. The penalty marker went down before the play ever got underway.
Yeah, that's where they adjusted. That's where the Lions were having so much success in the first half, going triple and then going to that backside. Then the Cowboys made that adjustment. Like I said, they decided to double away from triple, and then the Lions are trying to pass into the double away from triple.
Left defensive end, 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Penalties against Dallas, so it'll still be second down. About a yard. Tony Tolbert was called for the violation.
And of course, the Cowboy defense, because of these 4 wide receivers, the silver stretch, they played the whole game with 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs.
7 special. 7 special. 7 special.
Here comes 7 special. Look out for 7 special.
Extra defensive back end for Dallas. Bill Page back deep. Wide open and incomplete. Willie Green had it. He was so open it scared him.
I know it, and it was open for everything. It was a wide open pass. He was falling down. You don't know how much yardage he would have gotten. It would have given him a first down. I think that's one thing that probably has to surprise the Lions, and as Wayne Fonts was saying at halftime, that, you know, as long as they're going to give us that, we'll just keep taking the pass, and he's doing it.
Perryman just limped off. He had a bad hamstring going in. Matthews took his place. 3rd and short. Sanders, what would you think? Not enough. Maryland and Norton made the stop on Barry Sanders. No gain.
Did you see Russell Maryland, number 67? That was an athletic move. I mean, he's going to come in. Watch him here. He's the guy in the left-handed stance. But watch him hit the gap, get the penetration. Now watch the dive right here. That is a move right there for a big guy. Little guys make that move.
Talking to Jimmy Johnson last night and asking him about Russell Maryland. Relentless is the word he used.
Man, that was a big, big defensive play for the Cowboys.
Martin shakes away from the first Detroit defender from 2. Martin to the 40. Let's see who the quarterback might be. Jamison made the stop.
That first guy down was DJ Dozier, Pat, and I think he pulled a hamstring. I think he pulled his left hamstring. But watch him here. He's going to be doubled. There's 2 guys on him. Boom, he takes it outside. He goes right by him. Now he's coming down here like he's shot out of a cannon. Watch him put on the speed right here. He misses the tackle, and I think he pulled a hamstring. But he got down there, and he did most of it.
He did.
Except he didn't make the tackle, and you see what he's grabbing now. That means hamstring.
Aikman is the quarterback. Emmett Smith left side, now back to the right side. As only he can do, but not much there. 3 yards.
Yeah, when we were talking to Aikman last night, and Berline and Jimmy Johnson, I think we both just had a feeling that Aikman was going to play in today's game. I didn't know how or in what situation. But I think that this guy, Steve Berline, has done a great job for these Cowboys. He says he understands his role. If they want to make a change, it's okay. But he won 6 straight against them, and 4 of those games were against playoff teams.
Aikman to throw it. Outside, Darrell Johnston to the 45. Gain of 3. Ray Crockett made the stop. Erik Kramer over on the sideline.
Yeah, he's over there and he's talking to Willie Green. They're probably talking about that one that was so wide open, that second down pass. Then when they didn't get that second down, then they had to run it on 3rd down, and Maryland made the great play. See, he's looking at these imaging things, they call them. And he's looking at the defenses that the Cowboys are giving him. So he's looking, they play triple, then he's looking at them doubling away from triple now.
3rd and 5. Aikman to throw it. Incomplete, intended Novacek. Alexander was the defender, and the Cowboys will have to punt.
And I think the Lions, again, great defense. They understand the difference. I think when Berline was in there, you better have a bunch of guys around Michael Irvin, because that's his go-to guy. When Aikman comes in, this is his go-to guy, Jay Novacek. I didn't think they had to pay too much attention to Novacek when Berline's in there, but now that Aikman's in there, I think he's going to draw more attention.
Saxon back to punt to Mel Gray, or in that direction. They're going to try to kick it away from him if they can. Good kick by Saxon. Gray signal fair catch. Cowboys down at about the 8. Magala makes the Detroit task more difficult as he downs it at the 8. First down, Detroit at their own 9. Here's Kramer. Pass is caught, and this could be gone. Herman Moore made the catch, almost broke it. Got outside the 40 to about the 41, a gain of 33 yards.
And you see he's out there on Gant. That's where Ike Holt plays. Ike Holt is out. Gant's playing that position. Now, he had really pretty good coverage. He was there. The ball was underthrown. Moore was able to look back and see it, and he was able to get the ball. But I'll tell you what the Cowboys did. They faked blitz. They had like all 10 guys up in the line of scrimmage. Kramer went to an audible. The Cowboys jumped out of it, and he still got the play.
And Gant playing in place of Hope, who is on the sideline. Sanders. Two or three.
You talk about a guy bringing his load. Did you see Gant on that one, number 29? He's a great special teams player. In fact, Jimmy Johnson was saying he should be in the Pro Bowl. He played corner, and he was out there covering. And when he saw Barry Sanders run, he comes in there flying. He was out there in that left corner, and he saw that, and watch what happened. And he brought it and put it right where it belonged.
2nd and 7. Here's Ike Hope.
He's telling that's the way to hit.
Here is Kramer back to throw, and almost intercepted by Norton. It was there. I just don't think he saw it coming.
You know what happened is he's trying to roll out here. Larry Brown had great coverage out there on the wide receiver on this side. And that's who he was trying to throw it to. He's trying to roll out there. He's trying to throw the left. There was nothing open. So then he comes back off to Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders hadn't even turned around. But he was looking for Willie Green out there. And it was great coverage by Larry Brown.
3rd down and 7 at the 44. Detroit leading 17-6. Moore wide right. Trips to the left for the Lions. Draw play to Sanders. Sanders taken down by Tony Tolbert, short of the first down. He got 5 yards, but they'll have to punt.
Hey, the Dallas defense has made some very good adjustments at halftime. And again, is they're not just doing one thing. They're not playing each formation a different way. They're starting to play it a different way now. and things that were there for the Lions in the first half are not there in this second half.
Jim Arnold into punt. Good punt by Arnold. Kelvin Martin signals fair catch. It gets a Detroit bounce and into the end zone. They knocked it back out and they down it. Nico Noga knocked it backwards, but they're signaling touchback, so they'll, I believe, bring it back out to the 20. We'll see. 17-6 Detroit. Out at the 20. Cowboys ball. 17-6 Detroit leads. 8:47 left, third quarter. Aikman the quarterback. And back to throw with a blitz coming, and down he goes. Dan Owens came clean.
Yeah, we'll look at that punt pattern, and we'll see that Nico Noga was stepped on the line, and that's why the ball came out to the 20. You see right there, his foot is on the line, he's in the end zone, so that's why the ball wasn't spotted on the 4, why it was spotted on the 20. Now the last play, watch the pressure. Aikman's looking to his right. He doesn't even see or feel Owens. He's lucky he didn't fumble that one.
2nd and 21. Here's Aikman on a draw play to Emmitt Smith. To about the 17. Spielman on the stop, a gain of 7 by Smith.
Jimmy Johnson had a tough decision there. Troy Aikman is his quarterback. Troy Aikman is someday going to be the best quarterback in this game, but he missed the last 6 games. Berline did such a great job. You know, so you have the dilemma: do you put your starter back in, or do you stay with your guy that's hot? And I think in this game he got in a tweener. You know, that he didn't know whether to stay with the guy that was hot or put in his real starter, so he kind of did half and half.
3rd and 13. Agee in the backfield with Aikman. To Novacek. First down, Dallas at about the 42. Stopped by William White.
You know, we were talking to the Detroit Lions defense the other day. They were all talking about the guy they worried about was Jay Novacek. You know, they'd talk about Emmitt Smith, and they'd say, yeah, and they'd talk about Michael Irvin. Then they'd always say, you know, that other guy that gives us a lot of problems is Jay Novacek. And he caught a whole bunch of passes against him in the first game.
10 passes he caught.
That'll make you remember him.
Yeah. First down, Dallas at their own 42. 6:55 left in the third quarter. Emmitt Smith. Taken down by Jamison. No gain. Maybe a yard.
You know, there's one area in playoffs that the play really picks up, and I believe that's tackling. I think that the tackling in the NFL in playoff games is much, much better than it is during regular season.
And this guy, Jamison, is really one of the unsung heroes of this Detroit Lion defense.
I think Jamison is one of the best kept secrets in the NFL. He usually plays on the tight end, doesn't blitz a lot, but is a very solid and very good football player.
Passing down. Aikman. That's going to be overthrown, incomplete in the direction of Harbor. Good coverage by the Lion defense.
You know, I think if there's ever been a knock of Troy Aikman, it's not that he doesn't have a strong arm. He has a very strong arm. He's a big guy, he's a strong guy, he's a tough guy, but it's that he doesn't have a touch deep. You know, he can throw the ball deep. He can throw it a long way.
Like a Rippon, you mean?
Right, yeah. Now, Mark Rippon is just the opposite. He doesn't really have a real strong gun like Aikman does or like Elway does, but he has a great touch with the deep ball.
3rd and 9. 6:07 left, third quarter. Detroit leading 17-6. Aikman back to throw. Has some time. No first down. Alexander Wright made the catch and was knocked backwards after a gain of 7, and the Cowboys will have to punt it again.
There is an all-pro tackle right there. There is an all-pro tackle by Benny Blades. Watch the pressure here. He's going to get some pressure right up the middle by Mark Spindler. You see 92 there? He does that. But watch the tackle that Benny Blades makes. If Benny Blades doesn't make this tackle, it's going to be a first down. You want to see what an all-pro tackle is? Right there.
Whoa.
That is it. And that's why he's in the Pro Bowl.
He's playing with a bad ankle.
Yeah, he didn't practice all week. In fact, on Friday, he could hardly walk.
Didn't show then. Gray into the end zone. Gray signaled fair catch, let it go. It bounced through the end zone, so Lions will take over at their own 20 after a 50-yard punt by Saxon.
It's time.
First and 10, Detroit. Kramer back to throw it. Willie Green to the 35. Ray Horton made the stop. 15-yard gain, however.
Yeah, Willie Green got poked in the eye, and they weren't sure if he was going to play. In fact, they said if they played last week, he wouldn't have been able to play. They tried a shield on him, and they tried a plain shield, and that didn't work. And they tried the colored shield, and that didn't work. And they thought that every time they put a shield on him, he couldn't catch anything. So they said, with the heck with a shield, he's just going to go raw eyes.
They're working. First and 10, Detroit, their own 35. Dallas showing blitz. Kramer to throw. Quickly outside to Mike Farr. Another Lion first down. Jack Del Rio made the stop with a gain of 14.
Yeah, I don't know that I could be more impressed with a quarterback. I mean, this is a guy that is starting, his first year, and he comes to this position. Watch him, how cool he is. This is what they call their sprint. It's just a sprint right, and he just throws it out to Mike Farr. But I'll tell you, he has been close to perfect today.
He really has, with a lot of confidence.
And he's done it so calmly, so easy. It's like Joe Montana. I mean, I'm comparing him to Joe Montana, but Joe Montana would do it effortlessly.
That's a hard word to say.
I was amazing that one came out of here.
Pass is caught by Moore again. Norton made the stop, but look at this protection.
I'll tell you, number 75 there, Lomas Brown, I've always said is one of the best tackles in the league. Andelsek, a big, strong guy, powerful up above. They have been going at this defensive line of the Cowboys all day and winning the battles.
Look at Erik Kramer's statistics. 23 out of 29, 275 yards. Career high in completions and in yards.
And he's really spread the ball around, too, to a lot of receivers.
Here he goes again. Caught again, this time by Farr. At about the 27-yard line.
He took a hit on this one. Watch Jim Jeffcoat come from the bottom of the screen here. He's going on a stunt. You see 77? He starts to the outside, it goes inside, straight up the middle. And that was the hardest hit that Erik Kramer's taken so far. But that's what you call a stunt. Maryland worked to the outside. Jeffcoat lined up outside and went to the inside.
Kramer's hard to rush. He gets rid of the ball so quickly. He's 4 out of 4 on this drive. Just over 2 minutes left to play third quarter. Kramer again outside quickly, this time to Perryman. First down, Lions inside the 20. Manny Hendricks took Perryman out of bounds.
Again, you see the linebackers up here. You see, Pat, they got all these guys up here, and they're all moving around. You see how tight they are? Now they're trying to get to Kramer. Earlier, they were all up in there to stop Barry Sanders' run. Now they're up there to stop Sanders and put a rush on him. And they haven't been able to get to Kramer. And, of course, Barry Sanders has yet to really be a factor in this game as a runner.
But he's still back there.
And that's probably why the Cowboys are doing what they're doing.
First down. Kramer to throw it again. Out of the end zone and away.
And that's going to be a penalty. That's going to be a roughing penalty there. Kramer was just throwing that one away.
Roughing the passer against Jimmy Jones. There's the receiver.
If you're going to throw it away, throw it into the stands. He did that. Watch this. There's no one open. You don't want an interception. There's Jones right there. That's what he called him on a late hit. And Kramer just threw it in the stands. They ought to give him like 4 points for that.
He wasn't even open.
No, yeah, I know. It was not as good as a touchdown, but better than a field goal. And the guy had the right sweatshirt on. You see, it said Detroit something.
1st and goal at the 9. A minute 29 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Detroit leads at 17-6. Cowboys showing blitz again. Now they back out. Incomplete. No flag. Willie Green, the intended receiver. Brown was the defender. Speaking of people named Brown, there's Jerome.
Of course, Jerry Ball's going to be in the playoffs in the Pro Bowl this year. He got that bad knee. He probably won't be able to play, but he said there's nothing that has bothered him more than being on the team, helping him get there, and then not be able to play.
He's still full of spirit.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he's at every practice. He's out there in the field. He's working with the guys, and he's become a big cheerleader.
Kramer, touchdown. Willie Green. From 9 yards out. Coach of the year, and he's done another excellent job today. Wayne Funk.
This is an amazing job they've done here. Amazing.
For the extra point. And it's 24-6.
Willie Green's the outside receiver. Kramer rolls left. Just throws that short up. He got behind Larry Brown. Kramer hit him on a perfect pass.
Kramer is 26 out of 33. 2 touchdowns. A minute 19 left 3rd quarter. And Detroit with a commanding lead. 24-6. Mickey Pruitt fields the kickoff for the Cowboys. They'll start from there.
Let's watch what happened on the touchdown. Here comes a motion here. Here's Larry Brown. He starts back. And what Green just does is go up. I think Brown takes a look in here. Boom, he just goes right behind him. Watch him. See, he should just stay down here in the bottom and just stay with his man. You see him loosen with motion. Now he loses. Now right there, he takes a bite right there, and Green gets 5 yards behind him. That's tough down in the goal line. You can't have any indecision. Larry Brown had a second of indecision, and it was 7 points.
1st and 10, Cowboys. A stumble and fumble, and Detroit has the ball. After that last touchdown, this has become their theme this week, the thumbs up. That's for their teammate. That's the 3rd turnover that's for Utley. There's the fumble on the snap by Aikman.
Hey, that's what happens when a quarterback doesn't play. He gets rusty, and then he doesn't get all the practice time the other guy does, and just little things like the quarterback exchange become big problems.
Like right there.
The other thing is, we talked about what got the Detroit Lions here, and so much of it was emotion. And so much of it is brought by this stadium, and so much of it has been brought by this coaching staff. So much of it has been brought by Mike Utley and what he means to him. The injured player was Tracy Hayworth, and this is great news for this crowd of 80,000 people in this Detroit Lion football team and Tracy Hayworth when he gets up and starts to walk off the field.
It'll be first down Detroit at the Dallas 27. The Lions already lead it 24-6.
Yeah, Wayne Fonts was right there, and he told him he was okay. And as a head coach, when you have a player injured and he comes off and tells you he's okay, I'll guarantee you that makes you feel a lot better.
What a relief. You can see a lot of smiles now on that bench. Perryman was the move man. Kramer to throw. He gets away from the blitz. Has a man. The pass is complete inside the 10 is Willie Green. First and goal from there. Brown and Horton made the stop with a pickup of 20.
You see who made the big block, though? It was Barry Sanders. He's not known to be a blocker. The Cowboys know they have to make a play, so they're going to come on the blitz. Watch 51, Norton. Watch right there. Boom! Sanders knocks him down, and with Barry Sanders' block, that allowed Erik Kramer the time to make that play. I tell you, when you say a guy can't do something, watch him do it. When you get a guy like Barry Sanders, he's not a great blocker, but you need a play in a big game. He may not give it to you today running, but somewhere he's going to give it to you. And Barry Sanders just made that play.
First and goal at the 7. 30 seconds remaining, third quarter. Kramer. Incomplete. Again intended for Willie Green. Larry Brown, the defender.
Yeah, it was interesting, I think, what a good game plan the Lions have had. They started early working their right side, the Dallas left side. They got Ike Holt out of there. Now they're working the other side. This is Marv Levy right there. Dave Levy, excuse me, the guy with the headset, and I think he's done an outstanding job of knowing that you have to start with a pass, then you're probably going to go to the run. But if they don't take away the pass, then why even go to the run? It takes a lot of guts to do that.
Moore is wide to the right this time and trips it to the left. He goes right to Moore. Incomplete. The game plan was so simple.
Yeah, I think it was, and I think it was to come out passing and loosen up this Cowboy defense. Then when you get them loosened, then go to work with Barry Sanders. They came out passing, never did loosen up the Cowboy defense, never did go to the running game. And as I said, I think that, that Dave Levy gets a lot of credit for that, because that is something that is very difficult to stick with, especially when you have number 20 back there.
Third and goal from the 7, you're right. 20 might get the ball right here.
It's an audible.
They were going to run the option play. Really, it's not an option. He just throws it back to Barry Sanders.
Yeah, but there aren't many NFL quarterbacks who would audibleize to an option.
No.
In fact, I think that we may be seeing the only one. There's 28 starting quarterbacks in the league.
Timeout, Detroit number 1.
And there's one quarterback that would audibleize to an option. There are a lot of quarterbacks that would audibleize out of an option, but there aren't any that would audibleize into it.
Erik Kramer has been, well, those tell you the story, those statistics.
Well, the thing that's impressive here is how he spread it out. Look, Willie Green has caught 2 touchdowns and 8 passes. Mike Farr has caught 5. Barry Sanders hasn't run, but he's caught 5 passes. Herman Moore has caught 4. Brett Perryman, who we didn't even think would play, caught 3. Robert Clark, the other starter who we didn't think would play, caught 2. And then there was even a guy in the stands. Remember him? He caught 1 for 35 yards. That guy right there. He still got it. So that's spreading it out.
He's got the ball put away.
I know it. No one's going to get that football from him. And when you're losing in a playoff game, there's no way your ears can hurt.
And there's only one place to go.
That's a tough thing about it. All these teams get into playoffs, and every one of them is going to lose their last game except the team that wins the Super Bowl.
Third down, touchdown. Herman Moore. this guy's had, Erik Kramer.
You talk about being cool and confident. Erik Kramer is just growing and growing with confidence in this game. I mean, he has been amazing today.
For the extra point. Which is good.
I'll tell you, we said early that it was on his shoulders. It was. Watch this throw, watch this jump. You put it up there where either your guy gets it or no one gets it. When you have Gant that small and you throw it that high, it's either going to be an incompletion, a completion to a guy on the field, or a completion to a guy in the stands.
The Lions 31. Cowboys 6. 14 seconds left, third quarter.
Who would have thought at the beginning of this season, who would have thought that this guy would be the quarterback? Who would have thought that he would have this kind of day in a playoff game?
He just cut him apart. 28 out of 37. 329 yards for Erik Kramer.
I know, you know, and he's done it where he's made it look so easy. I mean, you would think, again, Detroit did have 2 weeks to prepare. But you also have 2 weeks to over-prepare, 2 weeks to get bored. None of those things happened to the Detroit Lions.
All of those numbers compiled by Erik Kramer. And it's not even the end of the third quarter yet.
Yeah, and they're starting to realize that going up and congratulating them. Tommy Hearns is down there clapping and dancing. Billy Sims is celebrating.
Gant to the 36. Stopped by Jenkins. 27-yard return. 31-yard pass from Kramer to Green. Detroit went on top 7-0. Dallas came back with a field goal by Willis, 28 yards away. Then Jenkins, 41 yards with the interception. Willis another field goal, 14-6. Murray came back with a 36-yard field goal with Green from Kramer again to make it 24-6, and then the last one to Moore to make it 31-6. Michael Irvin to about the Detroit 45. That's the end of the third quarter. They'll be in Washington at RFK, so will we.
Well, so is he. The kid just, he's from D.C. You got to be nice to the kid.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not in Detroit.
Yeah, it's a kid.
Here's Aikman. Flushed out of the pocket. Harper made the reception. Ray Crockett was the defender. A gain of 11.
Yeah, again, you were just talking, Pat, about those passing yards. That has to be, I think it's a combination of these passing yards with this number right above it, only 16 yards rushing and the score. And you say that, you know, if you hold the Lions to only 16 yards rushing, what's the score going to be after 3 quarters?
Well, you wouldn't think it would be what it is.
You'd never guess that number.
They lead 31-6, just beginning the final quarter. Here's Aikman. Novacek at about the 20, maybe 21, stopped by Jamison. 15-yard gain.
And the thing that Jimmy Johnson was talking about is you can't have turnovers, and you just look at the 2 games that they've played this season thus far. Dallas has turned the ball over 7 times. Detroit hasn't turned it over, and of course that, when you're looking for other answers, that's the one that's always going to get you.
First down, Cowboys at the 21 of Detroit. But they have a long way to go. Fumble, and I think Detroit got it back. Yes, they did. Another one of those. The fourth one.
That's the thing, and that should be so automatic, but it's not. I mean, the Lions have him beaten now. This is just the end. They can't even get the snap. You know, and that's just something, again, because he hasn't been practicing. Berline has, and you do that, this will happen.
Detroit takes over.
I guess both teams having silver helmets hasn't hurt Erik Kramer, has
Not
it?
too much. Pass complete to Moore. First down, Lions.
You know, the other thing, Pat, that this playoff, the divisional playoff, is the first time there's ever been a divisional playoff game in a dome. There hasn't been a divisional playoff or a championship game in a dome. And you know, another interesting thing about dome teams, there's never been a dome team, a team that played in a dome all year, that's ever played in the Super Bowl.
And how about the fact that if things continue as they are now, with Detroit winning, they have to go to Washington. They have never won in Washington in the history of the NFL.
Well, then they got to get back in a dome, because they have never lost in a dome.
Kramer to Sanders. Barry Sanders. About 5. Jack Del Rio made the stop.
Yeah, this is a record. If you look at them just playing indoors, they're 10-0. They scored 27 points a game compared to 12. They were 2-4 outside. 13 points allowed. I mean, their whole team, their offense, defense, everyone. And then look at the big one. That was one Jimmy Johnson was talking about. When they play indoors, they're plus 17 in turnovers. When they play outdoors, they're minus 11. And Jimmy Johnson was saying last night, that's the biggest stat about the Detroit Lions.
Second and 5. Sanders, the lone setback. 11:50 left to play. This is Sanders again. Breaks away from one. Not enough for a first down. Horton and Norton made the stop.
I'll tell you, it's hard to run when you got Horton and Norton out there. But again, they've really stayed with that passing game most of the time, and now I think they're just trying to get time off the clock and get out of here.
Well, it's running right now. 11:20 left to play.
There's Ray Crockett in his bandana. In fact, he has a car, his license plate has bandana on it. He has a Crockett corner down there. He said he always wore a bandana. He wore a bandana in high school and college. When he first came to the Lions, he wasn't sure, so he didn't wear it. Then he kind of slid it on once in a while. No one said anything, so then he went back to the bandana.
This is Sanders. Spin back to the inside, and down he goes, and they'll have to punt. A loss of a yard. Bates up to make the stop.
I'll tell you, maybe Dave Levy decided to stop passing and start running, and maybe you can see how smart he was that he didn't go to the running, because the Cowboys aren't going to let him have any running no matter what the score is.
Kelvin Martin back deep. There's Dave Levy.
Yeah, we had John Robinson in the studio today, and of course John Robinson and Dave Levy were coaching buddies at the University of Southern California.
Good kick by Arnold into the end zone. And they'll bring it out to the 20. 31-6. Detroit over Dallas. 10-10 left. A Silverdome in Detroit. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 31-6. The Lions lead the Cowboys. Regardless of what happens today, that guy's done a heck of a job. Here's Aikman. Back to throw it. Outside Novacek. Not much. Out of bounds. Stop the clock with 10:03 left.
You know, it's interesting, since Troy Aikman came into the game as a quarterback, he's gone a heck of a lot more to Jay Novacek. That's very obvious, but he hasn't gone to this guy Michael Irvin. In fact, I think since Berline went out, Irvin's only caught one pass. And knowing Irvin, he's going to be very, very frustrated. The number one frustration, of course, is you're getting beat 31-6. That's the number of all the Cowboys. But the second one is that he's not getting the ball. He's not even getting looked at.
Second and 6. Sack on Aikman. Hayward.
But it didn't look like anyone blocked Tracy Hayworth on that one. Boy, Aikman gets back there. Watch Aikman. He gets back there, and he's going to take that plant foot. Hayworth comes on a stunt right up the middle. He didn't even see him. Whew. He's going to start on the outside and then come up to the inside. See, 99, he started on the outside. It's that same stunt. It's the second time that they got there. You start on the outside, the tackle works to the outside, and then just boom, you just come right up to the inside.
3rd and 12. Aikman will try to throw again if he has time. Intended for Irvin, incomplete. Sheldon White, the defender, and the Cowboys will have to punt it. Now they just got the track shoes on.
Yeah, well, you know, Detroit Lions have never had a big pass rush, but when you get a team behind like this, 31-6, then everyone becomes a pass rusher. And you get Aikman, a guy who's been a little hurt, they are really going to go after him. And you watch Michael Irvin here, he thinks he's open, could have been open, had the ball been thrown a little sooner.
Saxon's punt, fielded by Gray. Look out. Into Dallas territory to about the 48, stopped by Bates. 8:58 left now with Detroit overwhelming Dallas 31-6. The NFC Divisional Playoff contest between the Lions and the Cowboys, and it's been all Detroit, particularly Erik Kramer. Get some of the other numbers for the winning quarterbacks this weekend.
Well, you know, if you would look, you would say, well, Mark Rippon, of course, they played in that mud and rain up there. He was 14 out of 29, 170 yards. Elway, amazing. You know, I mean, anytime he goes out there, he always has a chance to have a big day. Jim Kelly, 23 for 35, 273, 3 touchdowns. You kind of expect that. The one you don't expect
is the guy here.
Yeah.
And the guy who's the quarterback for the Lions right now. Kramer gets to Sanders. Tony Tolbert made the stop, no gain.
Yeah, when you have a Mark Rippon and you have a John Elway and you have all those guys, Jim Kelly going, who would have thought that the guy that would be 29 for 38, 341 yards and 3 touchdowns, and this isn't over yet, there's still 8 minutes to go, would be Erik Kramer of the Detroit Lions. What in the heck is this?
John Madden's Elvis? Elvis has got some problems. Second down. When you get it, the score 31-6.
Yeah, but if people had to make up signs like that, I mean, they ought to just, you know, go to their homes and read
Sanders
books.
still on his feet, and Sanders is gone. Six Cowboys missed him. Seven-yard touchdown run by Barry Sanders. Ray Horton is hurt for the Cowboys. Sanders had carried 11 times before that for 22 yards, and then that one from 47 yards.
Well, you know, it's just a matter of time before everyone on this team is going to be heard from. You think you got him tackled? No. I mean, that's by keeping your feet going and making Sanders move. Some of those moves, there's only one guy in this game that makes, and you just saw that guy. And you know, after he does something like that, everyone around him gets excited, and this is about as much as you get out of him. Barry Sanders does not throw the ball, he doesn't dance, he doesn't do spikes, he does nothing. He said when he scores, his feeling is one of relief.
He said, I feel it, I just don't show it.
He said once in college he raised his hand up and he said he didn't like it, so he's never done anything since.
Detroit 38-6. What a remarkable run.
You know, they all love him on this team. They all love him in this city. And all the players' wives feed him. Barry Sanders is single. And he makes the rounds of all his teammates. And his teammates never know when he's going to show up, but they know what time. It's going to be around dinner time.
Andre Ware starting to loosen up for the Lions. They lead 38-6, and again, thumbs up for Mike Utley.
Of course, that's for Mike Utley, and we see the number 60 on all the Lions helmets. That is for Mike Utley. They wear T-shirts under their jerseys that have number 60 for Mike Utley. I tell you, you say that emotion doesn't help. You say that there's no emotion in professional football. You say you don't need emotion to win. This team begs to differ with that.
Andy Murray to kick off. This crowd here at the Silverdome has not in any way been disappointed. Out of bounds, they'll bring it out to the 35. First and 10, Dallas at the 35. AG right side for a gain of about 9, perhaps 10.
Now A.G. gets in to come into the game legally. Remember the last time he came into the game, he was an illegal communicator. Look at this. If you look at the last 2 meetings, the score by quarters, the Lions, if they didn't get him in the first half, they sure as heck got him in the second half.
Erik Kramer. What a day he's had.
You know, when we talked to him on Friday, you could just feel the confidence, couldn't you?
You really could.
And you wonder where you're getting it from. I mean, they've had so many guys out. So many bad things have happened to this team. You wonder how can they do it? And it's not only Wayne Fonts who's coach of the year, but it's this whole group of guys, his whole coaching staff. Like I said, he's been coach of the year, and no one expected that they would have this record, win the division, and be in the championship game.
Darrell Johnston got 3 yards and a Dallas first down, stopped by Pritchett.
But I tell you, he enjoys it. I mean, you know, we all enjoy winning. I mean, there's nothing better than that feeling of winning, and there's nothing higher than winning a playoff game. And I heard Jerry Glanville say it last night, and it's so true. There's nothing lower than losing a playoff game because of the finality of it.
The end comes so quickly.
The winner goes to the championship game. The winner, all the accolades, get everything. The loser, their season's over for the year.
That's AG to midfield. Picked up 2. Stopped by Spielman.
There's a defensive coordinator, Woody Wittenhofer. I remember him for years when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, he's done a heck of a job with this team. His best players, Mike Kofer has been out for the year. Jerry Ball, the nose tackle, lost him. And he's kind of done it a little with mirrors here. And, you know, there's talking about who's going to be the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, Woody is one of the names that has been mentioned.
And it keeps popping up. 2nd and 8. Here's Aikman. To Irvin. First down, Dallas. Stopped by Blades, former college teammates, former high school rivals.
They go all the way back to Fort Lauderdale.
Sure.
In fact, Michael Irvin was saying that when they went to Miami together, and you know, you go back so far, they said that some of the toughest games that he ever played in were scrimmages. When Miami would scrimmage against themselves, and he would have to go against guys like Benny Blade.
He said spring practice was tougher than the regular season when they had to play against each other. First down, Aikman to AG. No gain. Bell was the first man there. No gain. And Lamar Leachman.
Well, Lamar is a defensive line coach, and you know, Lamar has had success wherever he's been. He was a defensive line coach of the New York Giants for years when they were very successful. And now he comes over here to Detroit. He works with this group. The guy knows how to coach. He knows how to get players to excel.
He's got all kind of slogans on the wall, all kind of sayings, and whatever it takes. Here's Aikman back to throw it. Outside, A.J. No gain, a loss. Stopped by Spielman. Well, there's a guy, Chris Spielman. You talk about football and the way it's played. It's an emotional game. He's the guy who really epitomizes that.
Well, and he said it's his life, and he's going to play it, and when he can't play it anymore, he's going to coach it. This to Ditka having a great time.
The guy loses, he can't get out of it.
Mike Ditka, I think, you know, anyone in this division, you go there, whether it's Minnesota or it's Green Bay or it's Detroit, they all have a special place in their heart for Mike Ditka.
They better. Here's Aikman. Outside the Harper. He's trying to get out of bounds. The Lions gang up on him. The clock continues to run. 3:25 left. A gain of 9. Sheldon White.
Well, the Redskins will go to work now. I know that Joe Gibbs and his staff, he gave the staff off the day off until this game was over because they wouldn't know who to get ready for. And then when this game is over, they're going to go to work tonight after the game. So I'm sure that if they're there watching, they've probably already left their houses and they're on their way to their practice facility to start getting ready for the Detroit Lions.
38-6 they lead over Dallas. 4th and 5, and the Cowboys, of course, will go for it. Aikman to throw. Irvin incomplete. Ray Crockett.
I tell you, when you get excited and you get this emotion going, you play until the end. There's no, well, we're ahead and we're not going to watch these guys. They get everyone around them. Boom, everyone's tackling. They're gang tackling. They're going to the ball. There's only one way to play it, and that's play it as hard as you can and enjoy it. And that's what these Lions are doing now.
Andre Ware is now the quarterback. If you look at Lomas Brown, the captain of the offense.
Of course,
Rodney Peete.
There's the starting quarterback there, Rodney Peete. He had an injured Achilles tendon and surgery. And of course, he'll be out for the season, championship, Super Bowl, and all. But he was their starting quarterback.
Overton. The Lions have it stuck away. They'll go to Washington next week. We get the 2-minute warning. Detroit leading Dallas 38-6. 2 minutes left. 38-6. Lions. Ware to Overton. Overton gets the Detroit first down, a gain of 8.
They're doing so much celebrate there. No one's going to know what Andre Ware or the offense did or anyone. No one's even watching them.
Well, you know, they had Friday when we were here at practice. Jimmy Johnson, of course, very dejected. But it has been a great year for him, too. Great turnaround for the Cowboys.
There's Jerry Ball. He's limping, but he's going to take one turn around here and get this crowd excited one last time on his way out.
A minute 15 left now. Ware takes his time. To the end. Bill Bates.
Hey, this is a great year for both these teams. The Cowboys realize now that it's over for them. But they also realize that they're going to be back. Because they have a young team. They have a lot of draft choices. The Lions are starting their celebration over on this sideline.
Detroit wins it 38-6. They go to play the Redskins next week.